Hey guys, what's up? Rome Grown here, back with another one. I'm going to show you guys kind of the stuff that I'll be growing, and we're just going to go through some of the varieties, man, real quick. I'm going to put the descriptions up on the screen so you guys can see pictures of what they look like. All right off the bat, we have the Scotch Bonnet. Obviously a super staple in my kitchen. I use it for cooking pretty much every year. And when I'm seasoning chicken, it's pretty much my go-to. Obviously, it's somewhere in the realm of 200,000 Scoville units. Does very good. I've pulled this plant off numerous times in my backyard, and I can't go a season without having it. I grew so much in the last few seasons that I haven't had to grow it last year, but this year I officially ran out, so I'll be going back in. This is the Ghost Pepper Peach. And this is the Ghost Pepper is basically a North Indian variety, used in a lot of Indian cooking and Indian cuisine. Pretty hot shit here, man. I mean, this is it's up in the million Scoville unit range, and it's a beautiful pepper, man. Very cool to grow. This is the peach variety, so obviously I'm looking forward to it turning a different color. Normally you have the red version, and there's a couple other variations, but I wanted to get the peach version to add a little bit of color into my garden, just to keep things a little bit interesting. But this is a super hot, definitely hotter than the Scotch Bonnets, so I'll be using that a lot more sparingly in my cooking. Moving on, we have the Bishop's Crown. Now this plant is pretty cool, man. It actually has, fruits, if you will, that look like a bishop's crown. That's pretty much why it's called that, or the Christmas hat or whatever, but or the Joker's hat, some of them are called. But this is going to turn a nice color, and it has a very unique shaped flower to it, and it's super unique. It's another super hot variety. Sorry, it's not a super hot variety, even though it's labeled that. This only ranges in the 5 to 30,000 Scoville units. A lot of people don't find them very hot, to be honest with you, so it's going to be something that's more of a snacking variety, something to add into my rice, something to add with beans, and maybe stuff if you can. But this is something that can be enjoyed a little bit more frivolously, because it's not going to burn your asshole. Now, next up, we have the legendary Carolina Reaper, man. What would the garden be without one of my favorite plants? Super flavorful. I do use this extremely often now. This has become a staple in my house for wing nights and stuff like that amongst the boys. Everybody kind of uses this to test their palate, if you will, because this pepper is so damn hot. It can just have you hallucinating in no time. Definitely a super hot variety. Over 1.5 million Scovilles, getting into that upper 1.5 to 2 million Scovilles sometimes, depending on how good they're grown, how much sun you get. But man, it's the Carolina Reaper, hottest, if not the hottest plant or pepper on the planet, and it's used to breed champions everywhere. So we already know a lot about this, and check out my other videos if you guys haven't seen me grow this already. But man, this is just an amazing plant. Super glad to have this in my garden. I do already have seeds of this, but I did get a late start on getting my seeds in the ground, so I did decide to get another plant, and I'll have more seeds this year. So I had to grab this. Now, this isn't a super hot variety. This is just basic chili pepper plant. This is what I'm going to be making I'm going to cultivate this to make chili powder and make chili flakes for when I actually want to make chili, and I'm talking about chili with beans and meat and that sort of thing for winter. So looking forward to this plant. Super vigorous producer, not very hot at all, has a little bit of a spicy kick to it if you let them ferment, but this is going to be a super high yielder. As you can see already, this thing's already producing flowers and whatnot. I don't want this plant to be producing super early, even though I could start plucking fruits off of this thing almost immediately, but I want this thing to grow, so I'm going to be trimming it, and that's going to be a separate short video, and I'm going to show you guys what I do to keep this plant growing continuously. But we're going to get this in the ground, and I'm super happy, man, because winter comes, and this is when I enjoy most of my peppers, to be honest with you. Next up, we have the cool and super interesting Levathian scorpion. This is a new variety. I haven't grown this plant yet, but man, look at those pods. It's going to be a very cool plant, very interesting looking. Grows these burnt caramel, purple, brownish type pods to them. Really gnarly looking, man. They look like, you know, they look like something a demon would grow in his backyard, but extremely hot. Pepper here, this is over 1 million Scovilles, 1.2 million here on the label, but you know, it's obviously dependent on how the person grows. Very happy with the way this plant's gonna come out. I'm super happy to add this to my garden, and I picked a plant that I thought would be super high yielding. Like, look at those internodes, so I'm super happy. And that's another thing we'll talk about very shortly, is how I picked my plants and the reason I chose these specific ones amongst, you know, 30, 40 other ones. So yeah, man, this is very cool, a very cool looking plant, and it's not so hot where I'm not going to be able to enjoy it, but you know, I'm going to have to obviously use it sparingly, and it's, you know, it's just another showpiece and something else to add to my genetic diversity, if you will. Devil's Tongue, and this is a habanero variation, but it's, you know, unique in its own right. The pods look like it came out of the devil's mouth for real. Very fruity and citrusy flavor to it. This is going to be a pepper that is much more easily and readily eaten, because we're looking at, you know, ranging from just under 500,000 Scoville units, anywhere from, you know, 100,000 up. So, and you know, just falling just short of the 500,000 Scoville units, you can really dial in and use it in cooking. But you know, anything in this range where it's like 100,000 to 300,000 to, you know, just under 500,000 Scovilles, I can really use them for chilies and stuff like that. So this is another interesting variety, something a little bit different, and it's going to add some shape to my varieties, and also too, it might be something to add to that chili as well. And the last variety here that I picked up recently is the Weary Weary Yellow variety, and this is a this is like a Guyanese variety. This is using a lot of Guyanese cooking. It's in the 300 to 50,000 K. I'd say that's topping that out. That's a little bit on the high end for this. I'd say this is somewhere in between the 100,000 to, you know, 200,000-ish range, depending on how it's grown. Super vigorous producer, but this pairs really well with mango. And yeah, it's used a lot in Guyanese cooking. For the Guyanese man, them, you know what I mean, you guys know. So you know, you guys know about this one. So I'm gonna grow this, and it's gonna add, once again, a little bit of color and a little bit of variety. These are very small pods. They come off, and they, you know, they have a little bit of a tomato taste. They have a little bit of a tang to them, but pairs well with mango, as I said. And it's gonna be used, I'm gonna probably get this one to Uncle Ron, let him use them in some sauces for his Guyanese food. So super cool, and happy to add that to the garden. So that's pretty much what we're working with. I did cheat a little bit, and I got a rosemary that's already super far ahead. This plant is super big, and I can't wait to acclimatize it to the environment.